Good morning. Good morning. It is another Friday and time for a fun Friday. Are you shrinking away from your biggest challenges, or are you turning them into fuel for personal growth? What if a simple shift could transform every obstacle into an opportunity for you to grow, prosper, be successful? Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips inspired by the 1950s classic, The Incredible Shrinking Man. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the film or not. I highly recommend it. Yes, it's a little dated, but it is an excellent film. I really enjoy the pathos and how the main character is able to take this tragedy of his life where he's just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and he starts off with fear. But at the end of the movie, he's filled with hope. And so I'm hoping that this episode of Coffee with Karma will help you take that path as well. My name is Carma Spence, and I help entrepreneurs, business leaders, and consultants write, publish, and market client attracting books to grow their business. So, tip number one, I call this Face the Cat. There's a big scene in the film where he's living in a dollhouse and the household cat is let into the house while the wife goes out shopping or something. And he has to confront this actual real terror. I mean, the cat's trying to get at him in the dollhouse. So, like Scott Carey, facing the house cat as he shrinks, confront your fears head on. Break them down into manageable parts. Start small, no pun intended, but tackle what intimidates you the most to build unstoppable momentum. So, I like to tell this story. In 2016, I was hit by a car. That's why I have this scar. And that's why I have these brand new teeth because teeth were ejected from my face. And I was absolutely terrified of that intersection that I got hit in. I was walking across the street and a left turning vehicle missed me, and then the left turning vehicle behind it, trying to miss that car, hit me instead. And so I had to face crossing that street again because it was important for me to get home after I got off the bus from work. And I remember my husband took me to that intersection and he walked across it with me once. And I was shaking. I was shaking so much, but I knew I needed to face this fear. So then we walked across it again and he walked behind me. And then the 3rd time, I thought he was walking behind me, but he wasn't. I was walking alone. I will admit that when I got to the side, turned around and saw he wasn't there, I was the fear increased and I wasn't able to make it back across without him coming to get me. But we did this multiple times until I was able to cross a street by myself. Is the fear gone? Absolutely not. There are times when I get complete panic attacks when I get to an intersection and have to cross it by myself, but I do it because I know I need to get to the other side. Well, your book's at the other side of your fear. Face it and move forward. Face your cat. Tip number 2, adapt or fade. Turn fear into resourcefulness. Now, as Scott got smaller and smaller, he had to adapt in order to survive. So at first, it was living in a dollhouse, but then the cat kinda stopped that one, and he ended up falling into the basement. And while he was there, he kept getting smaller. In fact, he had to face a spider, which I think was actually a tarantula, but we'll call it a spider. And he had to adapt using like a sewing needle as a sword. Um, he needed to get food. He knew there was a cupcake up at the top or a piece of it was like a cupcake or a biscuit or something, and he had to fight the spider for it. Maybe it was a piece of cheese. It's been a little while since I saw the film. And basically, he had to use what was available. He ended up living in a matchbox and adapt to changes. Well, the world's constantly changing. It has been changing increasingly fast. At this time last year, most of us were just hearing about AI, even though it had been part of our life for a while. Generative AI hadn't been. And all of a sudden, ChatGPT came on the scene. I remember it was like December, January, February. I'm like, what? What is this ChatGPT everyone's talking about? Well, I've completely embraced it and I use it to help come up with my ideas for these podcasts. And the world's changing, and who knows what's next? If you're going to continue to be successful as an author or even as a business person, you're going to have to adapt to what's going on because those who don't adapt are they fade. They're left behind. They don't succeed. I mean, how many businesses do you know were once really, really the it business? I mean, Blockbuster was the it business, and then it did not adapt, and it died. Kodak, that's the one that gets me the most. Kodak was the epitome of photography and film and all that stuff for decades. And then when digital photography came, it didn't adapt, and now there is no Kodak. There's no Kodak. Don't be the Kodak or the Blockbuster of your business, of your industry. You need to adapt, and that might mean you need to adapt your environment so that you can write that book and get it done. And of course, I'm here to help. I have a program that I'm going to be announcing in like a week or two that is going to be really fun. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it. Um, and it will take you from idea or I don't even know what to write all the way to your first outline that will help you write the book with ease. And I will be launching it the special in, about a week or 2. Very excited. So, if you are interested in being on the wait list for that so that you don't miss it, put wait list in the comments below, and I will send you a link to the wait list. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna make writing a book fun. Anyway, let's move on. Tip number 3, embrace the unknown. Find strength beyond your comfort zone. When Scott ventures into the basement, he enters uncharted territory because well, I mean, it's not like he hadn't been in the basement before this with laundry and the heater and all that kind of stuff is, but he had never done it at this size. So there were things in that basement he didn't even know were in that basement because he hadn't seen them before, but now he is. And the journey of writing a book means you're going to be probably facing things that you don't know. Even though I've written going on a dozen books now, every one brings up something I didn't know. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's new." And you learn with every book I write, I learn something new. So if this is your first book, no worries. You're gonna you're gonna face things that are unknown to you, and that's okay. Face the unknown. Remember, face the cat because the cat's probably part of that unknown. Unknown is often very scary for people, but when you face it and you explore it and you don't necessarily have to embrace it, but you do have to face it. And of course, I'm here to help. People have written books before you. There are plenty of us who will help you on your way. So don't take the fact that you've never written a book before. to stop you from writing your first book. Tip number 4, the power of perspective. Shifting your view changes everything. So as Scott is getting smaller, his world changes with each shrinkage. I'll always remember the scene where he's in his living room and he's, like, sitting on the chair and he looks like a little kid, and his wife is twice his size now, and being at that height changed his perspective. Well, you can reframe your challenges and look at them differently too. Look at them from a different perspective. What once appeared massive to you can become an opportunity to learn, to innovate, to overcome, to grow. All you need to do is you've got your obstacle and you shift perspective. Don't look at it from your current you. Look at it from your future you. Look at it from your mentor's view. Look at it from your friend's view. Look at it from your cat's view. I just look at it from a different view and find a way to go through, go over, go under, go around that obstacle so that it is no longer in your way and you get your book done and get your message out into the world and attract ideal clients. Tip number 5, survival is courageous. Reignite the flame within you. In the face of fear and uncertainty, survival itself is a triumph. Recognize that your persistence in difficult times is a form of courage. Use that awareness to propel you into your next bold step. Always keep it in mind. Courage is not the lack of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Just like when I was walking across that street, I was terrified, but I did it anyway. That's courage. So face your cat, move forward, and then pat yourself on the back because you can do this and maybe you already have. This is Carma Spence saying ciao for now. I will see you on Monday.